Las Vegas is getting ridiculously expensive. That's why today we're going to tell you all the hacks you need to know on how to get treated like an absolute baller without needing to gamble a penny. Hi, my name is Sean. I'm the UC Berkeley graduate that created and taught the university sponsored course on credit card rewards. I'm here with my co host, Sherwin.
Hi everyone, I'm Sherwin. I'm a Stanford student who's really into the credit cards, points, miles, travel hobby. I'm here to share with you some of the tips I've learned along the way. Now, in episode 5 of this podcast last year, we shared some really cool hacks on how to get better treatment, free things at Las Vegas simply by having certain credit cards. Now, a lot has changed in this game since then. There are new partnerships, there are old partnerships that were dissolved, and we want to give you an update on latest information you need to know. Before we jump in, Sean, would you say overall these changes are good or bad?
Overall, we've seen a lot of negative changes. It's hard to find any of these changes that really benefit us at all. Vegas, about 2 years ago, was so much nicer in terms of what we could book and the tricks we could use. Now it just seems like everything is getting stingier and stingier across the board. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I think, yeah. Unfortunately, I think the casinos and hotels are not feeling the squeeze from the pandemic as much, and you're now shifting your focus into maximizing profitability, which means a lot of these perks that people are taking advantage of are not as profitable for them. So many of them don't exist. But not to fear, there are still some really cool sweet spots that we'll share with you today. But let's start with one of the first big changes, which is to the properties available on American Express Fine Hotels and Resorts, or FHR for short. For those of you who need a refresher, FHR is a program that comes with the Amex Platinum and Platinum business cards that allows you to book sort of more luxurious hotel properties, and you get a bunch of a bunch of benefits from booking with them, including things like $100 experience credit off in food and beverage, a daily breakfast for two, room upgrade, guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout, and more. Now, Vegas used to be a really good sweet spot for FHR. And why was that, Sean?
It was really good because on FHR, most of the hotels on there are super expensive, right? We're talking like $500, $1,000, $2,000 night properties. But for Vegas, if you're going during the weekday, you can get some really cheap places that are pretty nice. So we're talking like Bellagio, Aria, Sky Suites. Or I guess Sky Suites is pretty expensive. We're talking like, Bellagio was pretty cheap, for example. There used to be the Delano on there, which used to be very cheap. You can get it for like $99 for the night. And you'd get these amazing perks for a really, really cheap room rate. And it was a really nice way to maximize your money. Because imagine, you're paying a $99 base rate for the Delano. Okay, after all the taxes or whatever, let's say it's like $160, $170. But you're getting a $100 dining credit. You're getting free breakfast. You're getting guaranteed 4 p.m. checkout. You're getting a room upgrade. It was a really, really sweet program. And now, what has happened is a lot of these properties have been removed from this program.
Yes. So in general, I think all the MGM properties have unfortunately pulled out as of this recording. So there are really good options like Bellagio, even like Aria Sky Suites or the MGM Skylofts that are more higher end are also gone. So the remaining options we're looking at are Crockford's, Four Seasons, Palazzo, Waldorf Astoria, and the Wyndham Encore. Personally, I feel like among these remaining options, Palazzo is your best bet. A lot of times the room rates are around 180 to a little over 200 if you're picking off-peak times to go. And assuming you're booking a one-night stay, that's the most value. That's like the best value you can get because the $100 food and beverage credit you get is per stay, not necessarily per night. On top of the $65 breakfast credit, you're only really paying a small difference for the room. So Palazzo is kind of my pick now. And I've been there, and the FHR treatment is really, really solid. Sean, what do you think?
That's good to hear. I mean, I haven't stayed at Palazzo myself. It's been one that's been on my list for a while, and I agree that is definitely the one that you can find the cheapest room rates at. I have stayed at, of the ones on this list, I've stayed at Crockford's and the Wynn. I had very good experiences at both. It is sad to see how much the room rates have gone up. I remember Crockford's, you could very consistently get sub 200, and now sub 300 isn't even really possible. The Wynn has also gotten pretty expensive. It's really sad to see how many properties have been removed from this program and how much everything has gotten so much more expensive. To put it in perspective on how good it used to be, I remember back, and I believe it was in 2022 of like the winter, springtime, you could get Conrad, which was also on FHR, for like a $62, $66 base rate. For that price, you got a $125 dining credit. You got a $66 breakfast credit. You got a $50 dining credit additional from your Hilton status, because with the Platinum card, you at least have Hilton Gold. You had a room upgrade, and you had 4 p.m. checkout for a $66 base rate. That is absurd. And now we're talking the very cheapest you can get is sub 200 on a very good day for, significantly less benefits if you're factoring in the fact that the dining credit's only 100 and the fact that you don't get that Hilton dining credit at all. So it's sad to see how much this program has changed.
Yeah.
If you are willing to drop some cash, though, still, Palazzo and some of these other options can be pretty legit benefits, especially if you're hotel hopping.
Yes, I think Palazzo is probably the easiest option to do if you're trying to use that $200 FHR credit from the Platinum card that comes annually. I think it's pretty solid. I would say, Conrad now, has not been on FHR for more than a year now. It's been a while. And then even if you're booking directly with Hilton, it's often more than $200 a night. And then you have to pay resort fees and whatever. So, the sweet spot is mostly gone, but I still think Palazzo is a good option. Crockford's I really wanted to stay at, but I can't justify more than $300 a night in Vegas when there are a lot of other cheaper alternatives now. As a reminder, when you're booking with FHR, one night stay is ideal, and you should be okay with hotel hopping because the food and beverage credit is per stay rather than per night. So you get $100 whether you stay 1 night or 5 nights. All right. That being said, there is still a silver lining that I think is not really talked about online, and I'm going to share this with you. So Bellagio, which used to be a really good option at FHR and is no longer on FHR, is still part of the Virtuoso program. Virtuoso is a travel advisor program where you can book certain hotels through like a Virtuoso travel advisor and get a bunch of perks that are very, very similar to FHR. And you can book Bellagio through this program and still get late checkout, $100 food and beverage credit that can be used at any MGM property, a breakfast credit, and so on and so forth. It's almost identical to FHR. I was able to use this earlier this year, even when it was no longer on FHR. Personally, I think the easiest way is to book it on Classic Travel, which is a website that lets you do these bookings yourself, so you don't actually have to talk to a human. And then if you're interested in Cosmopolitan, Skylofts, and Sky Suites, they're also available through Virtuoso. And again, this program is available regardless of whether you have the Platinum card. So I think it's something you should definitely look into if you're traveling to Vegas. Sean, have you had experience with this program or similar ones?
I've never used Virtuoso personally. I'm wondering, is there a minimum night requirement for Virtuoso? Because FHR, that was one of the main perks. Can you just do single nights on these?
Yes, you can do a single night through Virtuoso. So I stayed at Bellagio for 1 night. It was actually a really good deal because it was around $169. And I got $100 food and beverage credit and $60 in food and beverage or in breakfast credits, just by booking through this website. So check out Classic Travel if you're interested in that. You can also book Four Seasons, Wynn Encore, Waldorf Astoria, and Crockford's through Virtuoso. But those are also available on FHR. So if you have an Amex Plat, probably just use FHR. If you don't, you can book through Virtuoso and get very similar benefits.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really good to hear that there are some alternative options, I think, because for, someone trying to book these hotels, it's just there, if you're paying that resort fee, especially, that was like one of the things before as well, where we'll go into the statuses in a second, but if you have some of the Vegas status, you can get waived resort fees. And, when booking, for example, MGM properties in the past, there was always this kind of like internal debate you'd have of like, okay, do I book via MGM and get my resort fees waived, or do I book via FHR and get all the perks? Now, usually if you're doing single night stays, FHR beats booking direct, but if you're doing multi-night stays, then those resort fees really start to add up. And then it was kind of like, oh, do I book, you have to book direct, but it's good to hear that some of these options are still present.
Yes. So definitely check out Virtuoso if you still want FHR-like benefits of some of the properties that are no longer in FHR. So let's move on to the next major topic, which is the new MGM Marriott partnership. Previously, MGM was partnered with World of Hyatt and they had a very nice reciprocal program where if you had World of Hyatt Explorer Star Global status, that would match over to MGM Gold. And the main perk of MGM Gold status was that you got waived resort fees. That partnership has since dissolved since last year, and MGM is instead partnering with Marriott now. And they've recently released the details of that partnership. Sadly, I would say overall these details are disappointing. So first of all, there is no tier match from Marriott to MGM. There is a tier match from MGM to Marriott, but that's not relevant for most of us, so we're not going to go into it. Instead, you get these sort of benefits for booking MGM properties through Marriott. So Sean, why don't you give us the big picture and the rundown of what these benefits are?
Okay, so first I want to say before any of these benefits, from my understanding, is to get these benefits, you must book with Marriott directly and not with MGM. And the reason this is relevant is oftentimes you will find that the rates via MGM directly are significantly better than with third parties like Marriott, even though they have a partnership. Like previously, if you'd book with Hyatt, it would usually be a higher rate than booking direct with MGM, especially if you have any kind of gambling spend, because they'll give you discounted rates or comps and stuff like that. So you have to book with Marriott, which is already very annoying. And yeah, these benefits are not very good. So for Silver Elite, you get 10% bonus points. Woo. Yay. Nothing. Trash. Gold Elite, you get 25% bonus points and a welcome gift of 500 Marriott points. Okay. Also, essentially, for our purposes, trash. Platinum Elite, you get 50% bonus points. You get enhanced room upgrades, whatever that means. Priority check-in line. Okay, that actually matters a decent amount. And then a welcome gift of either 1,000 Marriott points per stay or $15 for food and beverage per night. And then you also get complimentary 2 p.m. checkout subject to availability, although this benefit is only stated to last through December 31st, 2024. So a lot of the problems I already see with Platinum Elite here, and then this is where the benefits actually start to get somewhat legitimate, are that a lot of these are subject to availability. Now, that is the case with Marriott properties directly as well. So like if you're booking with a platinum status for Marriott property, the room upgrades are subject to availability. But the reason it especially is relevant for Vegas is these properties tend to not honor subject to availability benefits that well. For example, MGM Gold status is supposed to get you enhanced room upgrades subject to availability. I have not gotten a single significant room upgrade with an MGM stay. Maybe a slightly better view or something like that, but we're not talking suites or significant category upgrades. So very doubtful on how much that's going to matter. The $15 food and beverage credit per night might matter somewhat, but to be honest, it's probably going to be offset by the difference in price that you're paying extra to book through Marriott compared to booking with MGM. And then the 2 p.m. late checkout, subject to availability. Come on, it's Vegas. These properties are very stingy. How much are they going to honor that? So not looking too great so far. What are your thoughts, Sherwin?
Yes, I think this is a major L. First of all, there's no free parking and there's no waived resort fees. Those are like the two biggest benefits of MGM Gold that was easily attainable through Hyatt status previously. Okay, none of these tiers in Marriott give you free parking or waived resort fees. Like, who cares about a $15 food and beverage credit if we're going to be paying $50 per night more in resort fee? This overall, like, this is a major step backward in my opinion, and frankly, I'm just not that interested in staying at MGM properties anymore, with or without Marriott status, because, it's significant. I mean, resort fees might just seem like, oh, it's $40 or $50 per night, but in Vegas, the room rates are not that expensive in the first place, so $40 or $50 is like actually a huge percentage increase if you think about it. So I'm just so unimpressed by this new partnership. Sean mentioned up to Platinum Elite. Titanium Elite, basically the same benefits, except you get a larger percentage of Marriott Bonvoy bonus points, which nobody cares about. So, Sean, anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, then the final one's Ambassador. Now, Ambassador is where we actually see a fairly big difference, although there's a caveat. So, Ambassador, you get 15% retail discounts. Whatever restrictions they have on that, we don't know. You do get waived resort fees through December 31st, 2024. What do they do after that? Who knows? Also, again, you're probably paying more to book through Marriott anyways to begin with. So, like, even since you can't book with MGM, it kind of defeats the point. This is something I'm not aware about totally on the specifics of. Sherwin, maybe you know more. You get one suite upgrade at Las Vegas per year up to a 3-night stay through December 31st, 2024. Now, what I'm wondering is this like a certificate that you can guarantee it up at, in advance? Is this a, hey, I showed up and they comped me a suite and great, I've used my suite upgrade? Do you know the specifics on this? Because I am not too familiar, actually.
So from my understanding, how it would work is you book the base room, and then if you're ambassador, you can call them up and say, I would like the suite upgrade for this day. And then if they have the availability, they'll assign it to you at that time. So
That's
it would
decent
be
then.
beforehand. Yeah, it's just once a year.
Decent.
But I feel like suite upgrades were not something that was regularly given out in Las Vegas in general beforehand.
So I think that's a nice, the fact that it's like in advance could be good. And then,
but I mean, if you think about it though, to attain ambassador elite status in Marriott Bonvoy, you're spending 100 nights and $23,000 in Marriott. So the fact that you're only getting one suite upgrade a year is not that impressive. I don't know about you, but it's
I totally agree. With that spending requirement, it's kind of ridiculous. And then the final couple benefits here are you get 1 p.m. early check-in subject to availability. Okay. And then 4 p.m. late checkout subject to availability. That's decent. Subject to availability. Let's be real. It's Vegas. How often are they honoring that? I don't know. You do get complimentary self-parking. Okay, that's important through December 31st, 2024. Again, what do they do after that? Who knows? And then priority access on dining and check-in through December 31st, 2024. I really don't like all of these through December 31st, 2024 perks, because what do they do after that? Maybe they renew it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, maybe it's just
but also these
run.
subject to availabilities are ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, also there's waived resort fees for ambassador, but ambassador is pretty much irrelevant for most of us because of how difficult to attain. So I think, focusing on like the platinum and titanium benefits, very unimpressive. Again, no free parking, no waived resort fees makes this so much less appealing than, MGM Gold, which was easier to attain before. To my knowledge, there's no easy pathway to attain MGM Gold now other than like gambling or spending a lot at MGM itself. You even used to be able to match over from Caesars Diamond to MGM Gold in person, or again, to match from Hyatt to MGM, but I think both of those pathways have ended. So I really don't know what the play is with MGM now. Sean?
I feel like, so one interesting thing, I do want to also quickly talk about the reverse side of this. So if you have MGM status over to Marriott, basically the status match sucks. It's like you only get to Gold, even if you have MGM Platinum, you only get to Marriott Gold, which Marriott Gold is trash. The very interesting one is if you have Noir status, which is extraordinarily hard to attain. Let's be clear. It's invite only, you have to gamble a ton. But some people do have it. You do get complimentary Marriott Ambassador, which that is legit, actually. Like if you have a Noir and you're gambling, like, okay, that's I'm impressed with that. If I was a Noir status holder, that's actually pretty cool. I feel like they should have done some kind of a status match, even if it wasn't that good. Even if you make it where you need titanium status to get MGM Gold, fine. But do something that you could get with resort fees. This is just garbage across the board.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even if you have MGM status, getting Marriott Silver or Gold is so underwhelming because you can get those easily with credit cards anyway. So, all right, I think that's enough about MGM. Oh, except one last thing. So if you do want free parking, there's still a way. You can get MGM Pearl status, which is the level before MGM Gold, by holding the MGM Rewards MasterCard, which is a no annual fee credit card. Sean, are you interested in this card at all? Does it appeal more now that, the previous partnerships are dead?
I mean, it appeals marginally more to me. I think I'm not going to be getting it, but if I was someone that really likes staying at MGM properties and I stayed at MGM properties frequently, then I could see the value in this because, saving parking is actually kind of cool. But given that there's another type of partnership that's still live and significantly better than this, I don't find the need for this anymore because I won't likely be staying at MGM properties, which sucks because MGM has some of the best properties in Vegas. But given this other partnership we're about to talk about, I don't see the need to stay at MGM hotels anymore.
I mean, if they have a credit card, even if it has an annual fee that gives gold status, I would be willing to consider it. But otherwise, Pearl, sort of meh. All right, let's move on. Now, the partnership that is still live at the time of this recording, fingers crossed, is the Wyndham and Caesars partnership. Now, The way this works is if you get the Wyndham business card issued by Barclays, that automatically confers you diamond status at Wyndham just by holding the card. Online, you can match Wyndham diamond status to Caesars diamond. This pathway, to my knowledge, is still alive. And you want to rematch from Wyndham to Caesars every February 1st because that's when the status resets. I think Caesars diamond, is the mid-tier status, but is pretty legitimate in terms of the perks you get. So first of all, waive resort fees. Again, huge because a lot of times resort fee takes up a huge percentage of the rate in Vegas when there are cheap rates on sales and whatever. You also get lower rates. And this is something I've observed around if you log into a Caesars account with diamond status versus you're logged out, the rates of the hotel nights are lower when you're logged into a diamond account, around 15%. Your mileage may vary, but this is something I've taken advantage of. You also get a $100 celebration dinner. So each year, if you have diamond, you can eat at one of the Caesars properties restaurants and get the entire $100 off your bill. You do have to use it one time. You can't split it up across multiple meals, but that's a pretty legitimate perk. It is $100 worth of food. Arguably, the Wyndham business card, which has a $95 annual fee, it's already paid for if you have this celebration dinner. So thoughts on these perks so far before we continue, Sean?
These are this is actually amazing because this was a better partnership pre the changing on MGM. So now the fact that MGM just completely devalued their partnership, this is actually really amazing. And I want to emphasize the lower rates part. Not only do you get lower rates with the diamond status, but Caesars properties, from my observations, have had significantly lower rates across the board to begin with than MGM hotels for even nicer properties. So to put this in perspective, okay, of how cheap these rates can be. Now, I'm not someone that stays a lot of these properties, but if you look at like Harrah's, Link, Flamingo, Horseshoe now, some of those hotels, which are not great properties, let's be clear, but they're better than like Excalibur for sure, and probably Luxor even. You can get these hotels for literally $10 a night. Now, there's some taxes on it. Okay, so you're paying $13 a night. No resort fees. $13 a night for a Vegas hotel in a good location on the Strip. That is absurd. Even like when I had MGM Gold and stuff, Excalibur, which is worse than any of those hotels, was like $20 a night. So you're paying effectively what is no money. Let's be real. This is no money for a hotel room, and you get no resort fees and none of that, and you get free parking for $13. Like, that's absurd. Even I'm going to Vegas very soon, and I'm staying at Nobu, which is essentially the highest tier Caesars property, and I am paying all in after all taxes $72 a night. That is what like the Park MGM would cost with MGM Gold status. Like, it is way cheaper to stay at Caesars properties than MGM properties.
Definitely take advantage of sales when Caesars has them pretty frequently. The rates come down a lot. And we're looking at $10 on the lower end. Nobu sometimes you can get for $80 or $90 with Caesars Diamond. I think Planet Hollywood is a good choice if you want something like close to a lot of things on the Strip because it's pretty center and it can be pretty cheap, like $30 to $50 depending on the night. So yes, you do get free parking, as Sean mentioned. You also get to skip lines at buffets and check-in counters, which can be really useful. Like if you go to the Bacchanal buffet at Caesars Palace, the lines are always super long, but I've been able to skip that just by having a Caesars Diamond card. Now, there are some other interesting perks I've been able to take advantage of that I don't really see talked about online. So one is the free high roller tickets. So I think once a month, you can go to a Caesars rewards counter and using your diamond status, you can print out 2 free tickets at the high roller at the Link. So it's like sort of this ginormous Ferris wheel that lets you see the whole Strip. I recommend going at night. You'll have a better view. And, obviously, I probably wouldn't pay that much money for it, but if you were to buy tickets, they're more than $30 or $40 per person. So to get 2 free tickets per month, I think is pretty solid. So that's a perk with Caesars Diamond. There's also a complimentary Atlantis Bahamas stay. That's kind of interesting. I haven't used this myself, but basically once a year you can get a free. You have to pay resort fees, but you get a free 4-night stay at the Atlantis in Bahamas because Caesars has a partnership with them if you have diamond status.
Yeah, that's a really great perk. Like, I think I did the math on it. It's like you're effectively paying about $75 a night because you have to pay for like housekeeping gratuities or something as well, and like the resort fee and resort fee tax. So you're paying like $75 a night, but considering how expensive that hotel is normally, that's actually a very good deal. And then keep in mind you get complimentary access to the water parks, and if you stay during like the off-peak times, you get some like free play. So I think it ranges between $100 to $150 of free play, which is pretty nice because if you kind of gamble that slowly over small bets, you could, roughly probably net like 130 or something expected value, maybe, conservatively $100 if you're getting the $150 free play. So that's pretty nice. That like pays for one of the nights. So I feel like this is a very cool partnership. Just across the board, it's just a better rewards program than MGM even had before this opened. So for me, it's like, why stay at MGM properties? I guess there's a little higher end ones than Caesars, but like this is a very, very powerful status.
I agree. I think just with waived resort fees and $100 celebration dinner is super worth it to do it. Also, the Wyndham business card is, I think a good deal even on its own. Like each year you automatically get 15,000 points just by paying the $95 annual fee. At a minimum, you could transfer those over to Caesars, get $150 worth of rewards credits that you can use at all of these properties. You can also maximize the value of those points more by using the Vacasa partnership that we've talked about. So overall, I think definitely try to get Caesars Diamond through Wyndham if you're interested in Vegas at all. I still highly recommend this. I will say overall, I'm still a bit sad about some of these changes. I did really like a lot of the MGM properties. I think, if I had to pick one of which properties I prefer to stay at, honestly, the answer is MGM. They have good properties like Aria, Bellagio, Cosmopolitan. I even like Park MGM as a cheaper option that still felt really nice. I really loved the Delano that all the base rooms or suites, whatever. So it is kind of sad that a lot of these benefits are gone from the MGM side. But now if I have to pick, I probably would go with Caesars just because of the benefits are better. Sean, do you have any last thoughts about this?
No, I totally agree with your take. Yes, Caesars is now basically, if you care about getting a pretty good deal, it's really the only option given how cheap it is and all the other perks. Like even though MGM had the better properties, we're stuck with Caesars now.
Yes. Okay, so I think that's about it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. It greatly helps us out. If you're interested in applying for any credit cards to subsidize free travel, please consider using the links in the description below to apply. It greatly helps us out. And Sean, you want to plug our Discord?
Yes, if you want to connect with an elite group of award travelers 100% for free, check out the Travel Lane Discord group at the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.